Hello everyone. Now today we are going to learn the next assignment from our data structure and algorithms library. So before this, in the previous session we have covered with the first assignment from the group A, and now today we are going to learn the second assignment from the same group, that is group A. So let's start. First we'll see what is the assignment is. So from the group A, we have learned the first assignment, that is a telephone book database we have created by using the hashing technique, and with that we have also used one collision handling. The collision handling technique we have used, and the name of that technique is nothing but the chaining. We have used over there these linked list data structure to handle such a collision. Now in the next assignment, let's see what is the title is given. So directly we are going to execute the second assignment, and what is the second assignment is that we need to implement all the functions of the dictionary ADT using hashing, and we have to also handle the collision if the collision occurs. So which collision handling technique they have mentioned, like chaining with or without replacement. So first today we will learn what is the chaining with or without replacement, and then we'll start the execution of this assignment, and what kind of data we have to use, or which kind of functions we have to perform on that data or dictionary, that is also given. Like data is nothing but set of key and value pair. So any kind of data we can say. For example, if we are talking about the telephone book, so we can say the phone number is my key and the value is nothing but the name of that person bearing the phone number. So in this way we can have the set of keys and values pair, and we have to map that keys to the values. Key should be comparable, they should be unique, and we can perform some standard operation on that keys, like the insert that key and the value in our table, or we have to find out the proper key and who is the person or a customer who is bearing that key. Likewise, then a delete operation also we can perform. So we have to see all this concept. Fine. So we are going to start our assignment number 2, but before that we are going to see how to handle the collision by using chaining with and without replacement. So this topic we have already covered in our theory sessions, still we are going to cover it by today. So now we are going to handle the chaining. Here this example is for chaining without replacement. Okay, so here we are learning the chaining without replacement topic. After that we are going to learn the chaining with replacement. Okay, so what is the without replacement? So name is itself saying that we don't want to replace anything. Whatever the next free location will be available, we have to place our element over there, right? So this is what the without replacement. Now let's learn it by example. So what kind of data is given? Like 11, 33, 20, 88, 79. This data is given, and we are having our table of size 10 from 0 to 9 we can say, and we have made them in the buckets. So bucket is each individual table entry is the bucket, means the bucket 0, bucket 1, bucket 2. These are the 10 buckets are there, and we are going to store every element in that table. So how we are going to store that element? So let's start storing the element one by one. So for example, if we want to store the element, so what will be the hash value of that element? That we are going to, for example, use the division method. So 11 mod 10. 10 is nothing but the size of table, which will give us the remainder 1, means at the location 1 or index pointing by 1, we have to store the element at that location, right? So 11 is giving the remainder 1 because 11 mod 10. 10 comes from the size of table, because the size of table we can see it varies from 0 to 9, means total 10 entries we can store. So therefore the table size is 10. So 11 mod 10 gives remainder 1. So we need to store the 11 at the location 1. So you can see that 11 we have stored at the location 1. Now let's talk about the 33. So what about the 33? 33 mod 10, it gives the remainder as a 3. So we'll check whether the location 3 is empty. Yes, at the location 3 no element is there, so we can directly store the 33 over there. So you can see here we have stored the number 33 over here. Now let's talk about the next number, that is nothing but 20. So 20 mod 10 will gives us remainder 0. So it should be get stored in the bucket 0. So is it a bucket empty at 0th position? Yes, it is empty, so we can store the element over there. Now we'll talk about the 88. What about the 88? 88 mod 10 will gives us the remainder 8. So we need to store it at the 8th location if it is empty. So we can see over here, yes, it is empty, so we can store the number 88 over here. Now we'll talk about the next number, 79. What about the 79? It will gives us the remainder 9, because 79 mod 10 will give a remainder 9. So we'll check for the 9th position and whether it is empty. Yes, the 9th position is empty, so we can store the element over there, right? So we can store the element 79 at the 9th location. Now let's talk about the 98. What will be the remainder value of 98? It will be 8. So we'll check first whether the 8th location is empty. No, the 8th location is not empty because we are having the number 88 over there, and for that purpose we can say the collision occurs over here. Means the 98 should be get stored at the 8th location, but as there is the collision occurred, we cannot store the 98 at this location. So as we are learning this example for chaining without replacement, so we are not doing any kind of replacement, we are just will find next empty location. So after 8, which is the next location, 9. So we'll check whether the 9 is empty. No, it is also having the 79. Then after the 9 we'll again start from the 0. So we'll check for the 0th position whether it is empty. No, it is also filled. Then we'll move again down. We'll check for it 1. 1 is also not empty. The location 1 is also not empty. Then we'll find out the next empty location as a 2, and you can see that at the next empty location we have placed our 98 in the hash table. Now let's talk about the next element, that is 44. In the 44, what is the value? 44 mod 10, it will be 4. So we'll check whether the 4th location is empty. Yes, it is empty, so we need to store the element here. Now let's talk about the 68. So 68 again give us the remainder as a 8. Again 8 position is filled by the number 88. So collision occurs, we need to handle it without replacement, and for this without replacement we'll check forward to find out the empty space. So 9 is also filled. Again we'll start with the 0. 0 is filled, 1 is also filled, location 2, 3, 4 all are full. So which is the next empty location? Location number 5. So as the collision occurs at the 8th location, so we can store our 68 in the location number 5. That is nothing but the next available location. So we are not doing any kind of replacement over here. What about the next element? The next element is a 66. So it will gives us the remainder 6. So we'll check whether the 6th location is empty. Yes, it is empty. So we need to store it at the 6th location. So you can see here we are storing the 66 at this location. Now we'll see about the last element, that is 22. So 22 will give us the remainder 2, but at the 2 we have stored the element 98. So we can see the collision occurs, so we are not going to replace that element, but we'll find out the next available position, and that is nothing but the 7 number which is free. So we can store the element 22 over there. So this is what the working of chaining without replacement. So we have seen this concept of chaining without replacement. Now we'll learn the next, that is chaining with replacement. Okay, so we are going to learn it with replacement. Now same elements we are having the elements with the same structure, means the table size is from 0 to 9, so total 10 entries we can store in this table. Now we are going to store the elements one by one, but here we are going to perform the replacement. Whenever required, we have to replace the element. So how and when we are going to replace it, let's check. Now the first element is 25, right? So 25, it gives the remainder as a 5, so it should be get stored at the location 5, and as our location 5 is empty, so we can store the element over there, right? Now next is 3, so 3 mod 10 will gives the remainder 3, so at the location 3 it should be get stored. So is it a location 3 is empty? Yes, it is empty, so we are storing our element at that location. Now let's talk about the 21. 21 will gives us the remainder 1, so it should be get stored at the location 1, and here it is empty, so we can store it easily. The next is the 13. 13 will gives us the remainder 3, and we have to check for the location 3, but oops, the location 3 is already filled, so we can say over here that it is creating a collision, right? So whenever we are talking about chaining with replacement, so we have to think about whenever the collision occurs and whatever the element is present at that location, whether that element is at their true location, that thing we have to keep in mind. Means if I have stored the 3 number at the location 3, so is it a deserved position of that number 3? See, yes, the 3 is at its actual location, so here we are not going to do any replacement. But instead of 3, for example, there will be a number 4. Instead of 3, there is the number 4. Then we can say that the 4 is not its actual location. It should be at the index 4, right? So that was not the true location for the number 4, and in that case we are going to do the replacement, okay? But here the 3 is in the actual position, it is at the actual or correct location, so no need of replacement. Then find out the next available slot. So after the location number 3, which is the next available slot? 4. 4 is empty? Yes. So we, as the collision occur at 3, we can store the element 13 at 4. But 13 is not its at actual position. Okay. But as the space is empty, we are storing it for a while. Now let's talk about the 1. Next number, that is 1. So what about the 1? 1 will gives us the remainder 1. 1 mod 10 will be 1. So at the location 1 there is the element 21. So we can say the collision occurs. So we'll check whether the 21 is at its correct location. Yes, 21 also gives the remainder 1. So that's why it is on the correct location. So no need to do the replacement. Find out the next available space. So after 1, which is the next available space? 2. So we can store the element 1 for a while at the location 2. Now what is the next number? 2. What is the 2 mod 10? 2, right? So 2 mod 10 will gives us the remainder 2. But at the location 2 there is already one element present, and which is that element? 1. So 1 is at its actual space? No, it should be at the location 1. It should not be at 2 or any another space, but we have stored it due to the collision. So we have to store the element which is having its correct location. Okay, so 2 will be having the correct location of index 2, or we can say bucket 2 instead of 1. So 1 is going to be replaced. Why? Because 1 is not at the correct location, and that's why we are replacing them. So here actually replacement we are performing. So now this 1 will be shifted to next available position, and 2 will be placed at the bucket number 2. So you can see that we have placed the bucket 2 at the bucket number 2, and now 1 will be shifted towards the next location. So after 2, what is the next location? 3, but it is already filled. The next location is 13, that is also already filled. The next location is 5, that is also already filled. So which is the next location? 6, and that was empty, and that's why we can place a number 1 at the location 6. So in this way we have done the replacement of the numbers or a data, right? Now next is 12. So what about the 12? Next is 12, and what about the 12? 12 mod 10 will become 12 mod 10 will become gives the remainder 2, and at the position 2 there is already a number, not actually 12, but before that there is a 7. Okay, So we have to talk about the 7. What about the 7? 7 will gives the remainder 7. So we'll check whether the 7th location is empty. Yes, it is empty, so we can directly store it at the 7th location. Now the number is 12. So 12 mod 10 will gives us the remainder 2. So we'll check at the location 2 whether there is any element. Yes, the 2 is the element at that location. So whether that 2 is at the right position, yes, it is at the right position, so no need of replacement. So we can directly store that 12 element at the next available slot. So which is the next available slot after 2? That is directly 8. So we can store the element 12 at the 8th location. Correct? Now the next element is 4. What is the 4 mod 10? It will gives us the remainder 4, and at the 4 is there any element? Yes, there is the element 13. Now we have to check whether the 13 is the correct element that is stored at the location 4. No, that is not at their true position, and that's why we need to do the replacement over here. And how we are going to do that? So we'll move that 13 somewhere like in the next available slot, and we'll place the 4 at its correct position. So you can see that as the 13 creates the collision, so we are placing the 4 at to its right position because 13 is not in the right position, and we'll move the 13 towards the next available slot. So which is the next available slot? Directly 9. So we have placed the 13 at that location. Now what about the last element, number 8? And 8 mod 10 will again give us the remainder 8, and at the location 8 we have the element 12 which is not at its correct position. So again we need to do the replacement over here, and for that purpose we need to move the 12 somewhere for the next available empty location, and we'll place the 8 number at this correct position. So you can see that due to 12 the collision is occurring, but it is not at the correct position, so we need to replace that 12 and we'll place the 8 over there, that is to its correct position, and we can move that 12 to the next available slot. So in this way we are doing the replacement. Now in our given assignment we have to use this concept of replacement. Okay, so we are going to apply the chaining with replacement in the coming assignment. Means whatever we have seen this second example, that example will be executable in the given assignment. Okay, so let's start with the assignment. So here is our assignment number 2. Okay, but as usual I have written some comments over on paper for the understanding of this problem statements, or to understanding this instructions, or we can say to understand this code. So what I will do, I have already scanned that, so we are directly going to understand it by that scan copy. Okay, so here I have already mentioned some of the comments, right, to easily understand the given code, and that's why I'm preferring this one. Okay, so let's start. So this is what the title of our assignment number 2 from the group A, that we need to implement the function of a dictionary as a ADT using hashing, and here we need to handle the collision. If it is occurring, then collision should be get handled by chaining with or without replacement. So for this assignment we are going to execute the chaining with replacement. Okay, now we have also seen that what will be the input, that is key value pair we need to insert in our table, and which operations we can perform on that, like insert, find and delete operation. So this thing we have to learn. So before moving towards the coding part, let's first understand what is the ADT. So ADT is nothing but abstract data type, is a type, or we can say it is a class for the objects whose behavior is defined by the set of value and the set of operation. This is what one class or a type, we can say it is the class or a type for objects whose behavior will be defined in the by the set of value, or we can say the set of operation. So the definition of this ADT only mentioned that in that ADT what operations are to be performed is also only given, but not how that operation is going to be implemented. That things is not mentioned. Means it does not specify how the data will be organized in the memory and what algorithms will be used for implementing such an operation. So that all are hidden from the user, that we are calling it as an abstract. So that term is called as an abstract because it gives an implementation independent view. We don't know about the implementation, that we are calling it as abstract. The process of providing only the essential and hiding the details is known as an abstraction. Means only the essential things will be provided and all the details gets hidden. That we are calling it as a abstraction. So this abstraction we are using that is given called as a ADT. So the user does not need to know that how that data type is implemented, right? For example, we are using some primitives values like say integer, floating, character data types, right? Only with the knowledge that these data types can operate and can be performed on without any idea of how they are implemented. So as we are using integer, character, floating, so we are just using them. We don't know exact implementation behind that data types, right? So a user only needs to know what a data type is that, right? So there are list ADT, linked list ADT, then we are having the stack ADT, we are having the queue ADT, different ADTs are there. So here we are using the linked list or we can use stack, queue, any kind of ADT, right? Abstract data types. So the data is generally stored in a key sequence in a list which has the structure. For example, if we are talking about the list ADT, then it will have the head structure, then it will have the node structure, and then with that we are going to use it with the list. So this is what the ADT that we all know. So we will not go in further detail of that. So we can directly start with the program, right? So this is what the coding part we are having for this assignment. So now they are also they are only given that we have to use the functions insert, find, delete for one dictionary. So what data can be in the dictionary? So now for this assignment we will consider the telephone and the name of person and its number. That will be our key and value pair. Key will be its number and value will be its name. Okay, so we are assuming this is our dictionary ADT. Now we have started here we have included the files that will be required for execution of the program. That header files we have included. Now we have defined one class over there. Okay, so what is the name of class is hash function. This is what the name of class. In that we have defined one structure. You can see over here we have defined one structure over there, that is typedef struct hash. Okay, why we are using this typedef? The typedef will assign the new name to your structure, right? The structure is nothing but what? User defined data type, right? The structure is user defined data type. It is not the system defined, it is the user defined data type. And by using the typedef keyword we can give a name to that structure. We can give the name to that structure, and whenever we are assigning a typedef and the name to that structure, so while we are using that in our program, so we can declare the variable by using that name. So no need to use the whole structure hash like this. So we can directly give the name. So here we can see that we have given the name hash. So by directly calling or writing the hash we can create the object of that. Okay, by directly writing that we can directly declare the variable of this type struct hash instead of using this whole keyword. So this is what the benefit of writing the typedef. It does not change any meaning of that structure. Okay, now what the structure content? Structure we are using to store the different data types, right? So different data types we can store at the single struct, and that struct we can use for example student data or etc. Now here we have created one structure hash. Here we are storing the key and the name, right? So key will be long because as we are talking about the telephone number, so it will be long, and the character name that we are taking for the 10 digits 10 characters we can take over there in the name. That is one array we have declared of the character for storing the client name, and in this way we have defined our structure and we can access this structure by using the hash word. Okay, this is what the new name of this structure we can say. Now here you can see that we have created the table, we have created the array of, you can see H array we have created of the size 10, and what is the data type of this array is hash. So you can see that we can directly use the hash as the name of this struct. Instead of writing down the struct hash, we can directly use the hash due to this type def. So we have created one array, or we can say the hash table of a size 10 for the by the data type of hash. Now we have also declared some function, that is public functions, like hash function, which is nothing but the constructor which is having the same name of the class, right? Then next is insert function, the display function, find function, because that are the functions which are already mentioned in the question that we need to execute the operation like insert, find and delete. So that function we have included, insert, find, delete, and with that also a display function. So these are some functions that we have declared in the class. Now we are going to execute that function, or we have to write down the definition of that function. Okay, so here my class is get closed. Now we have to write down the definition of the class for functions, member functions which are defined in the class hash function. Okay, so before going towards the definition of the function, let's start it from the main, because every program will get executed from the main. It will start with the main. Okay, so after understanding the class, we'll directly go towards the first main function, because every program executes from the main, right? So we'll understand first main, and then we'll see the definition of the every function. So where is the main function? Yeah, here it is, main function. So what the main is, in the main function we have declared some variables as per our requirement. So we have taken one key, that is a type of long, to store the phone number. Then we have taken one variable ch to take a choice, one variable index to calculate the hash value. Then we have taken one character answer variable, and here we have created the object of our class. What is the name of our class that we have seen initially? That is the hash function. So I have created one object of my class so that I can access the members function or member variable of that class. So here we have created the object of the class hash function. Now I am displaying the choices or which operations we are going to perform on that telephone ADT. So that functions are given, like first will be insert, display, find, delete, and etc. Okay, so we are going to take the choice from the user, and while we are doing this, we are making the use of switch case, right? So we are doing this thing, and we are taking the choice from the user in the variable ch, and we are passing that choice as a parameter to the switch function. Now switch function will execute the cases one by one according to their input. Whatever it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, according to the input it is going to be execute every cases. So if it is the case 1, then here in the case 1 we are calling the insert function. So how we are calling it? Object dot insert. Why the obj dot insert we are using? Because the insert is the member function of hash function class. It is the member function, or it is the function of hash function class. So whenever we are going to access the function of any particular class, we need to access it by creating the object of that class. So we have created the object initially, right, obj. So we are accessing the function insert of the class hash function by creating its object obj, right? Same way, if the choice is 2, then we are going to call it the display function. Whenever our choice is 3, then we need to take the input from the user, that which key you want to search, and that key will be taken in the k variable, and that will be get passed to the find function, because we need to search something, right? So obj dot find, in that parameter we are passing the key which we want to find out, and then we are calling that function which will be return something. Okay, and whatever the value will be written by that function, that will be get stored in the index variable. So definitely it is going to be written the location or a position of that key where it has stored in the hash table. That location will be stored in this index variable. And if we are getting that index, means the return value of the obj as a -1, means it is not finded out any kind of element, so key element is not found, that we can say over here if it is written as the -1. Okay, and if the next is case, that is case number 4 is the delete operation, then again we need to ask to the user that which key you want to delete from that hash table, right? So that key again I am taking in the k variable, and we are passing that key, right, to the delete function. And how we are calling the delete function, that obj.delete, and again here we are going to break that after execution, and case number 5 is nothing but exit. As you can see here, it is the exit. So here we want to break directly, and again we are going to ask to the user that do you want to continue from the given menu. If it is want to perform another, then it will perform, right? So in this way do while will be executed. So this while will be executed only if the answer of the user is yes, that it want to continue execution. If it is answer is no, then it will stop, it will come out of the loop. And here we are mentioning these things. Okay, so here is our integer main. Now in this main we are calling the function of the class. Now let's see the definition of that function, how that functions are working. So that that we are going to learn here. Okay, so here we have learned the how the class is defined and how the structure is defined. Then after that we have also look out the main function. Now we'll see the one by one each function. So what is the first function defined in the class? That is the hash function, which I am calling it as a constructor. So now what is the purpose of using the constructor? The constructor we are using to initialize something, right? So here we can initialize the hash table, and the hash table is made up of what? It is made up of key and the name. So we need to initialize key to some value as well as the name to some value. So how we are going to do it? So let's see how we are accessing that function, how we are defining that function. So hash function is my class, and this symbol represents the scope resolution operator. What is the purpose of using this scope resolution operator? That we can access the member of that class outside the class. We can all access the member function or member variable of that class outside the class. So we can see that we are outside of the class. Here the class is closed, and how to access the member function of that class? So by using the scope resolution operator, right? Now next is this is nothing but the constructor, because it is having the same name as the name of class. So this constructor will initialize something. So what it is going to be initialized? So I have already told you that in our table we are having the key and name, right? So what we can do, we'll assign the key to the -1 value and we'll initialize the name to the null value. Okay, so initially my table will be like this, from 0 to I. So what is the table size we have taken? That h of 10. So we have to move from 0 to 10, or we can say 9, right? So from 0 to I less than 10 means 9. We are going to assign for every field, means hi of key, and here hi of key means h of 0 of key, h of 1 of key, h of 2 of key, likewise. So at every place we can see that we are inserting the -1. With that we are also copying one string, that is null, to the location of h of 0 of name, h of 1 of name, h of 2 of name, likewise. Means at this particular location we are assigning the -1, at the same time we are assigning the null to the string name. So in this way our table is get initialized, and for that purpose which thing we have used? strcpy. So this we can call it as a ADT, because this ready-made function we are using strcpy, and here we are not mentioning any functionality of that string copy, that we are using the inbuilt function string copy, right? So the string will get copied to this position. Which string? The null string. The null string we are copying to this location. So every time your I will be changes, so your location will be changes. So I will move from 0 to 9. You can see here 0 of name, 1 of name, 2 of name, 3 of name. Likewise from 0 to 9 we are inserting the null. We are copying the null by using this strcpy. So to execute such a function we should include our string.h. So whether we have included it in here, yeah, we have included that string dot h, so that only we can perform this string related operation, right? Now this is what initialization of our hash table we have finished. By using the constructor we have initialized our hash table. Now the next function is that we are going to see after the constructor. Now we are going to learn the delete function, how to delete any particular key. So for deleting any key, first we have to take the key from the user, that which key they want to delete. Okay, so same way we are mentioning, you can say that the return type of this function is void. Okay, void hash function is the name of class, scope resolution operator, so that we can define that delete function of the class outside of the class, and that's why we are using this scope resolution operator, and we are passing one parameter long key. That key is nothing but given by the user itself, that is nothing but the telephone number in this example. Now we are going to find out that key in our table. So how we are going to find out? Directly we will search for the 10-digit number? No. First we will calculate its hashing value. Okay, hashing value is nothing but index, that at which index that key will be stored. For example, if I want to search my mobile number in that database, so what I will do? I will find out the hashing value of my whole number, and then at that particular index will find out that particular entry, right? So that to find out that particular or to delete that particular number, first we have to search that number and then we can delete that number, right? So to do that, initially we have to use the find operation, right? So you can see that to delete that particular key, first we are going to find out that key by this find operation, and that operation will give you the location, and then at that location I will check whether my key is present at that location or not. So this is what the working. So here we are calling the find operation first, means before deleting we need to search it first and then we can delete, right? So find location of the key and store it in the index variable. So index will give you at which location the key is stored, right? So we are going to find out that key first by using the find operation, and then we can have that in the index variable. Now I will check. We have not seen the find operation yet, but we are going to see it after this. So first we will complete the delete and then we will see how the find operation works. Okay. Now whatever the index is written by that find operation, I will check if that index is equal to -1, means whatever the index is get written by that k, that is already -1, means the key is not found over there. Because the find operation cannot find that key, then it will written the -1, and if it is the -1 means, if index is -1 means at the calculated location the key is not found, that this place is empty. So we have to display the message that key is not found. Else means if this location is not empty, it will have some value, then what we have to check over here, means we have finded out that key. The meaning of else is nothing but we can successfully find out that key in a table. Now I need to delete it. So how we are going to delete it? If I find out the key, then I will make its key field as a -1 and I will copy the string null to their name. So that key will get deleted, that position will get empty. So you can see that make its index key as a -1 and make the name as a null by copying that null string to that particular name of that h of index. H of index is nothing but the location that can be calculated by the find operation of that particular key. So at that particular location I need to store the null because I want to delete that. So by copying -1 and null at to that location, we can delete that key. So we can display the message the key is deleted. So we are not actually making anything, we are just making index as a -1 and we are making the name as a null. So in this way the key is get deleted, right? So in this way the delete operation, it is very easy, it is very small, due to what? Due to this find operation. We are directly calling the find operation over here, and that find will give two results. Either it will give the location properly or it will return the -1. -1 means the key is not found, so we can say that the key is not available over there, and if it is written any value means at that value our searching element is present. Now we can delete that. And how we are going to delete it? By making its key and name field. Key and name field, by making it as a -1 and null, we can delete that key. Okay. Now next is the hash function find. Now here we are learning the find operation. So how we are going to find something? So again, for the find operation we need to ask to the user that which key they want to find, and that key we are taking as a parameter long key, right? So here we are going to find any particular key. So how we are going to find? In our whole table from 0 to 9 we are going to start our search. If the index will match with the searching key k, okay, so we are starting from 0, then we'll move 1, 2, 3, 4 up to the 9, right? So if at the any particular location, whether it will be 0, 1, 2, 3 up to the 9, we'll check whether that h of I of key is matching with my searching key, means the key is present at the any location, at the 0th location, whatever the key is present, whether that key is matching with my searching key. If it is yes, then we have to say that the key is found at the location I because h of 0, h of 1, h of 2, right? So 1, 2, 3 is nothing but the location. So I will print my location as a I, and I am also going to print the name. What is the name of that key? Means what is the name of that client who is bearing that key, right? So it will print the location and it will return the location. So here you can see it is again returning the location I. So as we have seen in the delete operation, the find of key is returning something, and that we are storing in the index. So what it is returning? It is returning the I is nothing but the location. So it returns the location of that key which is found, right? Now this is what about if the key is matched with that given key. Okay, if your current key is matching with your searching key, then we need to do this. Otherwise, if means from 0 to 9, if you are not getting any kind of key over there, then what is the next thing? Means you are reaching to the 10th location. If your I becomes 10, means there is no further location available, because from 0 to 9 we have searched, the key is not found, so it is not find it out anywhere. So we have to return the -1, means what? The key is not found, no such a key is present in the table, and in that case it is returning the -1. So in delete operation also we have seen that whenever the index is -1, means your find operation is returning -1, then we can print that the key is not found. So meaning is the same, whenever it is returning the -1 means key is not find out, and whenever it is returning something as a I, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, any number, means the key is find out at that particular location. So this is what the thing. So we have learned the delete operation, find operation. Now next is the display operation. Okay, now next is the display operation. So how we are going to display that? So from again we'll say we are starting with the I, and we are going to display the key and name. Okay, so from I is 0 to 9, I less than 10 is nothing but 9. From 0 to 9 we are going to print. So how we are printing? /n /t. /n is for the new line, /t is for the tab, right? Tab, whatever the tab key you are using on the keyboard, same tab is working with the /t. So in this square bracket, h square bracket, so you can see here h and the square bracket, in that we are mentioning I. So I will be moved from 0 to 9, so 0, 1, 2 dot 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 up to the 9. Then h of I of key, so this field will represent the key, and h of I of name will represent the name. So ABC are nothing but name, 120, 821, these are nothing but the keys. So in this way we are going to display our table by using this form. It's as much as simple than the that find operation, right? Now next is insert. This was something complicated because here we want to make the actual use of the collision handling technique. So whatever the technique is mentioned on our title, that we need to use the chaining with or without replacement, that actually we are going to use in this insert operation. So this is somewhat complicated part of this assignment number 2, that we need to handle this collision. So this insert function, same, that void hash function is the name of the class, scope resolution operator, and I am calling the insert function, right? Now in the insert function I have declared some variable according to the requirements. I have also initialized some variable like flag is equal to 0, count is equal to 0, right? So this variable we have declared. Now we are using the do loop. In that I am saying if my count goes beyond 10, right, more than 10 or equal to 10, then we can directly say that hash table is already full and we have to break that, okay, because the size is from 0 to 9, the size of table is only to occupy the 10 entries, so it cannot store more than 10, and that's why if your count goes, because count will go start from the 0, right? So if it is going more than 10, then we have to mention that the hash table is full and we have to break that. So no need to insert further, we can directly break when your count condition will get unsatisfied, means your count is going beyond the 10, then you have to break that by displaying the message that hash table is full. Now what is the next thing? In the next thing, if this condition is not satisfied, means there is the place available in a hash table, then we have to ask to the user that please enter the telephone number which you want to store, enter the client name which you want to store. That telephone number I am taking in the k, that is key, and the name is taken in the variable n, which is already declared over here, right? Now what is the next thing? We have to store that element somewhere, right? We have to store that element in the hash table. So for storing that element we can use any hashing technique, whether it is the division, multiplication, etc. See, hashing technique and hashing collision resolution technique, these are the different things. Hashing technique can create the collision, and that collision can be resolved by using the collision resolution technique, okay? So hashing techniques are having total 6 hashing technique, like division, multiplication, mid square method is there, folding method is there, universal method is there, right? So from that we are again using the division method. So in that division we are using the mod table size, key mod table size, okay? So whatever the key will be entered by the user, that key mod 10, it will gives the remainder, that remainder we are storing in the HR, okay? That remainder we are storing in the HI, that is nothing but hash index, right? HI variable. So HI is nothing but the location where that key gets stored. HI will give you the location where the key will get stored. So here we are calculating the hash value or the index of k in the variable HI. Now I will check whatever the index we are calculated, whether at that index any element is already present or whether that field is empty, that we need to check. Okay, so how we are going to check it? If h of hi dot key is equal to -1, h of hi is what? Index. It can be a number from 0 to 9, because we are doing mod 10, so it will take the number from 0 to 9. So we will check. For example, hi is having 3. So I will check at the h of 3 dot key, h of 3 dot key. This is in this table you can see h of 3 dot key. This column is for key, this column is for name. So key is -1. If it is -1 means that space is empty. So we can store that key k and the name n at the available position. Okay, so if that key is giving a -1 means the position is empty, then we have to store at that location h of hi dot key, where we are storing the key which is entered by the user, and with that name also I am copying to this h of 3 of name, h of 3 of dot name. So you can see that I am copying the key, where I am copying h of hi of dot name, where I am copying that name which is given by user. So again we are using making the use of strcpy, that is the string copy function. So I am copying my string here at the location. So here you can see that if that location is empty, now to insert the 22, okay, and the name is B, the key is 22 and the name is B. I am not taking the whole 4 number of the 10 digits, I have only taken the 2 digits. So to insert the 22, what will be the hash value of that? 22 mod 10 will becomes 2. So 2 will be the hash value or index value. So at the location h of 2 I will search whether any key and the name is present. So key is -1 means nothing is present, so we can store the true and that name over here. So you can see that the 22 and the name B I have copied to this location. So 22 is get stored at this location and the name B is get copied instead of this null, right? So in this way we have stored any particular thing in the table. This happens, or this will work whenever your space is empty. But what happens if it is not? Means that location is not containing the -1 but it is having something data. Then what we have to do in that case? So there are the two conditions according to the chaining without replacement. What are the two conditions? The conditions are like that: whether the element that is present at that location is the true element, means whether that element is at the true location, correct location. If it is, then we do not need to replacement, but if it is not at the correct position, then we need to do the replacement. So again there are the two conditions, right? So in else part means that key is not empty, something is there. So that something we need to check whether that something is at the correct position or not, right? So I will check whatever the key is present at the current location. For example, I am getting the index 2. So I need to check whatever the value is available at the index 2, that is true. So that value I will call it as a current value. Okay, current value, I must say that is the current value. So I will check whatever the value available at that index. Which index? HI index, because HI is the index that is we have calculated, right? So at that HI index, if that value is present, that how we are going to check? That h of HI dot key mod 10 is not equal to HI. Why we are checking like this? Because whatever the index I have calculated, at that index, if any another value is stored whose hash value is not matching with that index. For example, if we are talking about h of 1, so h of 1 should contain the element whose remainder will be 1, but the 50's remainder is 0. Still that element is present at the index 1, right? Still that element is present at the index 1. It should be at the index 0, but it is present at the index 1. So the 50 is not at its correct location, right? And as it is not at the correct location, so we need to change the location of 50 so that I can place the element whose remainder will be 1 at this location. So here we are checking whatever the current element is there. So this first thing is checking the current element, right? So this thing is checking the current element. Okay, now that current element is having the original index. For example, if there is the 50, so I will check 50 mod 10 is what? 5, sorry 0. 50 mod 10 is 0 is equal to, for example, my HI is 1. Okay, my HI is 1. So 0 is not equal to 1. Yes, it is not equal to 1. So we are checking that it is not at the correct location. If this condition is satisfied, means 0 is not equal to 1, means that element is not at the correct position. So we are checking the current key is at the right location. If it is not at the right location, then we need to perform this operation, means we have to do the swapping, we have to do the replacement. So how we are going to replace that? So that 50 and that C I will store somewhere. Like for the swapping we need some temporary variable, right? So I am creating one temp variable. In that temp variable I am storing the key. Which key? Current key. Current key means h of I, h of HI. This is what my current location, h of HI. Whatever the key is present at that location, store that key in the temp variable. So I am storing the 50 in the temp variable. Same way, whatever the name is present at the location of h of HI dot name, that is nothing but C, that should be get copied to one temporary variable. So which is the one temporary variable we have created to copy the name? ntemp, that is the name temporary, where I am copying the h of HI of name, means that C will get copied in ntemp variable. Now this position will, now we can replace this value by the new value, right? So I will copy my new k to that location and the new name to that location, right? So new k, that is k, I am placing that location, with that name n is also placed at that location, and whatever I am copied in the temp and end temp variable, that will be moved toward the next available location. So how to search the next available location? Before that, let's see how this working by example. So this is my table, right? The 22 we have already inserted in the previous example. Now to insert the 81, I will find out 81 mod 10 is nothing but 1. Now my HI content, what is the value of HI now? HI is 1. Here my HI value is 1. So I will check at the location 1, is there any another element? So yes, at the location 1 there is the 50, element 50. So I will check whether that is at the true location. So how I am going to check? By executing this condition. So 50 mod 10 will gives us the remainder 0 is not equal to HI. HI is what? 1. So 0 is not equal to 1. Yes, the condition is satisfied. So we need to swap the things. We need to replace the thing, right? So here we can see that the temp contain the 50 and temp contain the C, and now I have copied the 81, and whatever the name of that 81 is D, that will get copied at the true position, that is H of 1. Now my temp contain the previous value 50 and end temp contain the name of that value as a C. Now I have to store this temp and end temp somewhere. Somewhere means to the next available free location. So how I am going to find out that next available free location? So for that we need to check. So from generally where we have started to search, from that key itself we are starting by incrementing their index. Means the 50 number is present at index 1. So we are going to start the next available location from 2, 3, 4, 5 up to the 9 likewise, right? So for HI plus 1, because my initially position of 50 is 1. So now I want to start with the 2. So what I will say, for I is equal to HI plus 1, means from the next index up to the 10, means below less than 10, that is nothing but 9, we need to search. Any position is empty, so how we are going to check? If any key is equal to minus 1, if any key is the minus 1, then we have to store that temp variable at that key and end temp variable at the name field. Okay, so we are going to store the name temp at the key field and the end temp at the name field. So this condition will find out the next empty location sequentially from that number up to the 9 to store the copied key and the name, right? So if it is finding any location as a minus 1, then it will store that. So in this example we can see that the location of 50 is 1, but we have replaced it by the 81. So where the 50 should be get stored? So we will search for the 2. So is it 2 is empty? No, 2 is not empty. So we will search for the next. The 3 is empty. Yes, the 3 is containing the minus 1. So we can store our element 50 and the C at the location 3. So you can see that the 50 is get stored over here and C we are storing here, right? And while we are doing this, we have to set our flag to 1. Initially flag is set to 0. You can see here flag is set to 0. Now we need to make it as a 1. 1 means we have done the replacement. That's why we are setting it as a 1. And we have to break over here that the element will get replaced here. Means you will come out of this loop. Right? Now, if we are moved from 0 to 9, if we are moved from 0 to, sorry, not 0 to 9, but from that current location to the 9, but we are not getting any position as a empty, means we have not executed this if condition because no one position is having the minus 1. All the positions are filled. So what we are starting generally? From again 9 we are starting from 0, right? After the 9 we are starting from 0, means we are searching from the upward, right? Now you can see here, if I am not finding any position after the 9, then again my search will be go towards the upward side, and again I will start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 likewise. Up to what? Up to that current position. Up to that current position. So now what will be my for loop? Now for loop will be from I is equal to 0. When I is equal to 0? whenever we are not the getting element from that index to the 9, from that particular index means current position up to the 9, if element is not found, then we have to start from 0 to that current position, right? Then we have to start from 0 to current position. For example, from H7 to H9, if we are not finding any position empty, then we will find out the rest of the position from 0 to H6. We will find out from 0 to H6. So R will be start from 0 and the R will be less than HI. HI is nothing but current position, means where we want to replace. The position from where we want to replace, that is my current position. So from 0 to HI, we will find out any field is empty over there. At that same time, we are also checking whether my flag is equal to 0, means we have not done any kind of replacement yet, and then I++. So by checking this condition, then we will check if there any position is empty between 0 to that particular location. If it is empty, then copy the temp to that key and copy that name, that is ntemp, to that name variable. Means if that 50 and C is not get stored over here, then we have to find out the next empty slot from 0 to that particular location and we have to place that key. So here we are taking some another example. Here our table size is now fully displayed, right? So this is what our data. Now I want to insert a G name with a value 98. Okay, now I want to insert this 98. So what I will do, I will check what is the 98 gives us, remainder 8. So I will check at the edge of 8. Edge of 8 is having any number? Yes, it is having the 57 as its number. So I will check whether that 57 is at its correct position. No, because 57 is not giving the remainder 8, it gives the remainder 7. So it is not its correct location. So I must store the 98 at the correct location and 57 should be shifted somewhere. But where? Because after 8 there is the index 9, but the 9 is already filled. So we need to start it from 0 again. So where I will search now? In between 0 and 7. In between 0 to 7 I will search the value. Why between 0 to 7? Because from 8 onwards there is no empty field. Right, because after the 8 onwards there is no empty field. So I will start the search from above again, like from 0 I will search for the 0th location, it is already filled. Then I will search for the first, it is also filled. Then I will go for the second. Yes, it is having the -1, means this field is empty. So I can store the 57 over there. Right. So here you can see that the 57 is now stored in the next available position with its name, and the 98 is get stored to its actual position in the hash table. So this is actual call as a chaining with replacement. Here we have done chaining with replacement, and the 57 we have replaced to somewhere because it is not at the actual true position, right? So these things we have done. Now again else part. So this else is stand for which if now? This else is stand for this if. This if means here it is not at the true position. If the number is not at the true position, means this if is working with the replacement, chaining with replacement. Now sometimes it may happen that the number is at the true position, that also we need to check, right? So this we are checking in the else part. Else means the condition is false, that the number or that key is at the true position, so we cannot replace that key, right? So if the current key is at the correct location, then no need of the replacement. Here the no need of replacement. So what we have to do? We are not going to replace that key, but we are going to store that inserting key to somewhere else. So how we are going to find out the location? Same way, for that current location onwards, means below of that current location, we are going to find out the place, that is for HI plus 1 up to the 9. We will search out whether any field is -1. If it is, then we will copy that key and that name to that particular thing, and we will again set the flag to the 1. Okay. Means we'll storing that element at the location, and if we are not getting any location from the current position up to the 9, then again we have to start with the 0 to that current position. So you can see that from 0 to current position and my flag is 0, then again I have to search for the next thing, right? Means to restart the search from the first location, not the search but insertion, to restart that searching of the free location, right? To restart the searching from the first location for the empty space, means we are going to search that in between 0 to current location, means we are searching in the upward direction from 0 to that particular key, right? If any of the key will be empty, then we need to insert at that location. Okay, we need to insert that key at the location and copy the name at that particular location, and we have to break that. So every time whenever we are doing this, we have to increment my count by 1, and whenever your count is reaches to the 10, means you cannot insert any kind of element furthermore. So every time it will ask, do you want to insert more key? You have to say yes if you want to insert, you have to say no if you don't want to insert. And whenever you are giving yes and no, the count is going to be incremented whenever you are inserting your key. And whenever, if you are saying yes but your count is going more than 10, it will check initially only, right? So here it is checking. If your count is greater than 10, then the hash table is full. You cannot insert any kind of key. This message will get displayed over there, right? So this is complicated. Why? Because you have to think about with replacement, without replacement. So in the without replacement, in the with replacement also we are making the without replacement. How? Because if the key is at the correct location, so we are not doing any kind of replacement, right? So without replacement is automatically performed over here. So in this way we have to work in this program. So this insert operation is somewhat lengthy, but not, we can say the tough, but it is lengthy. We have to search from 0 to 9. We have to search from that current location to 9 as well as from 0 to current location, right? In this way. For example, for this 84, which is at the 4th location, if I want to store something, then I will search the empty location from 5 to 9, and if I am not getting in between 5 to 9, then I will search from 0 to 3. Then I will search from 0 to 3. So in both way we need to search that empty location, and we have to store that element. So this is what the working of this ADT. Now let's see how to execute this. Okay, so this is our program. So I will execute it on the online compiler. So GDB online compiler I am using to do that. So here I have copied that whole program, the same program you can see over here, the same program is that. Now we need to run it. So I will, just a minute. So click on that run button. Okay, so I am clicking on the run button and I will execute that. Okay, so I have clicked on the run button, and now I am executing the program. So you have to give your choice. So you can see that in the telephone ADT you are having insert, display, find, delete and exit. Okay, so I am giving my choice as a 1, means I need to insert the number. So again I am not giving the 10 digits number because it will take 2 more times, so we will take only the 3 digits number. For example, so say 123 is my number, and what is the name of client, for example Asha. Okay, so it will ask again, you want to insert some more. So I will say yes, I want to insert at the the number is the 456, and the name of client name will be Akiran. Okay, now again it will ask, you want to insert some more. So I will say yes, I want to insert. What will be a telephone number for this? 789 for example. What will be the name? For example Ramesh. The name of client. Again you want to continue. Yes. So I must say the telephone number is 999 and the name of the person we have to write down the name of the person, for example Maya. Okay, again if you want to insert something that any key, for example 7, we have to say yes first. Yes, we want to insert. I will say 777 is my telephone number, that is key, and the name of the client will be Umesh, for example. Okay, now I don't want to insert anymore, I just want to display what I have done. So I will say yes, I want to continue with the main menu, and then I will give my choice as a 2 to see how the data is get inserted. So you can see that at the location 999 initially we have inserted 123, right? So 123 is nothing but having their hashing value as a 3, 123 mod 10. It will give the remainder 3, so it is at the correct position with the name Asha. Then we have inserted the 456. 456 should be at the 6th location, so it is at the correct position, and we have inserted the name Kiran. Then we are inserting the 789. 789 gives the remainder as a 9. Okay, so 9 at the 9th location we have inserted the Ramesh, right? Then we have inserted the 999, that is nothing but 999 is nothing but giving the remainder as a 9, so it should be at the 9th location, but there is the 789. Now we have to check whether the 789 it is the correct location. Yes, it is at the correct index 9, so no need to do the replacement. So 999 will be copied, or it will be inserted at the next available position. So after 9, which is the next available position? 0. So we have to restart again, right? So at the 0th location it found at empty, so the 99 will be get stored over there, and then we have inserted the 777, which is at the 7th location and which was empty, and that's why it is get inserted over here. Now again I want to continue. Now for example 999 is not at the correct position now, right? So we need to do the replacement here. If I want to insert any element with the remainder as a 0, then 999 should be get shifted somewhere, right? So that we are calling it as a with replacement. So let's check for the replacement, and for that we need to insert something, and that should give the remainder 0. So for example I am submitting as a 500 as my number, which will give the remainder 0, and the name of that will be Kamal. Okay, so now I want to display it. I don't want to insert anymore, and now I want to display my tree. So I will say yes, continue, and my choice is nothing but 2. And now, yeah, you can see that the 500 is now stored at the location H0, because that was the true location for the 500, because 999 is not the true location, right? 0 is not the true location for 999, and that's why we have done the replacement. So 500 and the Kamal is copied or inserted at that location 0, because it is the true location for 500, and the 999 will get shifted toward the next, right? The 999 gets shifted toward the next available location. So H of 1 is the next available location. Now let's insert something that is giving the remainder 1. So let's see what happened about the 999. Okay. So yes, I want to continue. I want to insert something which will give the remainder 1. So for example 121. Okay, 121, and what will be the name of that? For example the Ganesh is the name. Okay, now one more thing will store. For example the again I want to insert the 444. Let's do that. 444. Next is, its name is Suresh, for example. Okay, again I want to insert something. Yes, I want to insert. The key is 856 and the name is Meera. No, I don't want to insert. Yes, I want to continue, and I must say display that. So you can see that the 121 is again placed to its original position, right? Because 999 is again at not its correct position. So 121 is placed over there with the name Ganesh. Then 999 placed with the next available space. Then 123, the 444 is again placed to the true position. Then 456 is at the correct location. But what about the 856? 856 should be at the 6th location, but the 456 is already at its correct position, so we cannot replace that number, right? So we'll find out the next available space, and the next available space for the that number is 8, because 7 is already occupied, so 8 is the next available space. So in this way I can insert that in the next available space, that is 856. Okay, now again I will say yes, I want to continue, and again I want to insert something. Okay, at the location 5, for example, I want to insert, so I will say 555, and the name is Uma. Okay, yes, no, I don't want to insert anything now, and just I want to check. Right, so I want to display it. So this is now my table is full. Okay, so we are going to continue. Now I will search something. What is the next operation is find, right? So I will give my choice as a 3. Now I want to find out, for example, Maya, okay, with the number 999. So what is my key for searching? 999. So what it will written? Yes, the 99 is found at the location 2 with the name Maya. So you can see that the 999 is at the location 2 with the name Maya. So in this way we have found it out. Now to see the delete operation, okay, now I want to delete it, anything. So I will say yes, continue, and I want to perform the operation delete. So what I will do exactly to find out the delete operation, I must say that I want to delete the entry 555. Okay, this key I want to delete. So it is saying that 555 is found at the location 5 with the name Uma, and the keys get deleted. Now let's check whether it is deleted or not. So I will say display, and we'll check yes, at the 55 there is -1 and null, means the keys get deleted. Fine. Now what is the next? Again I want to delete something, so I will say yes, continue, and I want to delete. So operation number 4, and I want to delete the key 666. So let's check whether it, so enter the key is not found, because such a key is not available in the table, right? So that's why it is not visible, and that will not be found. Okay, so in this way we can say we have to execute the operation. Okay, so in this way we can do that. We can delete, find out, or anything we can do it over here. So are you getting what the things are given? Hope all of you are understanding what I am saying. So these are the different operations that we have performed on this, and you can see that how we are going to display that over here. So this is what the execution, and I am executing this program on the online GDB. You can also use the Ubuntu. Okay, on the terminal also you can execute it by using the GCC or G++ compiler. So with that we have finished this concept. Okay, so we are going to stop here by execution of this assignment. Hope you all of you understanding the concept. So we are going to stop over here. Thank you very much.